Camden Cervinsky, who is on the autistic spectrum, had just celebrated his 4th birthday August 30. Just about 2 months later, his family's dealing with the unimaginable, planning his funeral.
A few days before his 4th birthday, with the same truck, he's way too big to fit in it now.
His mother, Taylor Cervinsky, says Camden loved playing with his favorite truck since he got it 3 years ago.
And now he's trying to fix it. Always trying to fix his stuff.
And just like his truck, Camden's train sets were fascinating to him.
He would get right down to the table and he would bend his ear down and he'd listen to the vibrations and watch the wheels go around.
He loved to keep them going, even if he escaped to the playroom upstairs at Mumu's house, a room grandmother Brenda Ritchie made for all 10 of her grandkids.
Always here. Yeah, he always loved to spend time with his Mumu.
Mumu was an integral part of Camden's life. She watches him a lot while Camden's parents are at work.
He was just so hands-on. He didn't like to give normal kisses. He had to give Eskimo kisses. Just rub his nose on yours, or he'd take his hand and rub it on your nose. I know, it doesn't seem real. I keep thinking that I'm gonna wake up. But it doesn't happen. We tried to get there as fast as we could.
Camden's parents got a call from a babysitter, Barbara Pendelli, at Pine Grove Apartments last Wednesday. She lost sight of Camden. Taylor's first instinct was to ask, "Did you look near the water?"
I mean, his dad is the one that ended up going in and getting him out. If we had gotten there sooner, maybe. When we would go on vacations and stuff, we would obviously take him in the water. But he loved to go swimming with his daddy.
Today, the family continues to grapple with this gut-wrenching loss. They're planning a celebration of Camden's life for this Saturday. In Searsport, Lorraine Muir, News Center, Maine.
As parents send their children back to school this week, safety is top of mind for many because the threat of school shootings is real. That's why Bangor School District is using a new crisis alert system to ensure police can respond quickly to any emergency. News Center Maine's Lorraine Muir shows us how it works and how the district is learning from past mistakes.
You're in view, get to a room, get to a room. And my friend and I were like, what is happening?
That's what Genevieve Sichters heard back in May during what was supposed to be a normal school day during her senior year of high school. That quickly turned chaotic.
There were some students running around the school screaming. And so if you're in a lockdown and you don't know what's happening and you hear screaming outside your door, you're obviously going to be terrified.
Luckily, this was not a real situation. Rather, an accidental activation of the school's new Centegix crisis alert system. For students inside, it was a frightening day. But Superintendent James Tager says the continued surge of school shootings was the main reason to get the alert system.
What happened in Uvalde, Texas, that was probably the biggest wake-up call for me. And through my years as an educator, it always bothers you. And I don't know why that one bothered me more, maybe because it was elementary.
Tager says he and his staff are continuing to adjust security protocols to best keep students safe and have learned a lot from the accidental activation of the crisis alert system.
We also had an incident where we learned a lot from in regards to the sound of how loud our system is and some things that we can do to make it even better.
Raymond Finney is Bangor's school safety director and says when used correctly, it's an easy and effective system and teachers and school staff will have it on them the entire day.
Just multiple pushes of that button will then notify the police.
Police say they responded in just 2 minutes back in May when the alert system was accidentally activated. Sichters hopes the system never has to be used, but says if it does, she hopes first responders and school leaders can clearly communicate what is happening.
I think there were some situations to figure out, but there's a learning curve for everything. So I trust that the high school has learned from it and that everything's going to be good.
The school will continue regular drills to make sure school safety protocols are fully met. In Bangor, Lorraine Muir, News Center, Maine.
Honestly, I love being a paramedic. I love doing the job. Sometimes the administrative role of not having people takes toll.
Amy Drinkwater is a service chief for Stockton Springs, St. George, and South Thomaston's ambulance service. Covering 3 communities is spreading her and her department thin.
And it takes toll on everybody. It takes toll, like I call and hey, I'm short-staffed. You know, that makes me call someone to come in. I feel bad because it's like, man, I'm already at 80 hours this week. Can you come in and cover this shift?
Our EMS system across the state of Maine is really at a place of crisis.
The need for EMS workers can be felt across the state, but particularly in rural areas. Senator Chip Curry of Belfast championed a bill this session that looks to improve emergency services across the state and provide a pathway to educate, attract, and retain EMS workers.
And we need to grow the workforce, and we need to strengthen it so that they can stay in the workforce and stay working, doing this incredibly important work.
A recent Blue Ribbon Commission studying EMS in Maine recommends spending $70 to $90 million to create a more sustainable EMS system. According to that report, there are more EMS clinicians than there were a few years ago, but it's not enough to keep up with the current call volume.
But I think the problem is that you've seen an increase in population in the state of Maine, and you've seen the age of Mainers increase.
The importance of having providers in our town and having our ambulance on the road ASAP could be someone's life.
Drinkwater is hopeful the new work group can address the current shortfalls of Maine's EMS system. Curry's bill creates a work group to address the recruiting and retention challenges. And that work group will also study barriers to EMS education and work to better coordinate training options. Lorraine Muir, News Center, Maine.
Not here yet, thankfully, but winter weather is coming our way sooner than we might like to admit. So are those heating bills.
I know, not looking forward to that, but so many Mainers have trouble keeping up with those bills. However, there is still time to apply for help. News Center Maine's Lorraine Muir has more about the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program and other ways to stay warm.
Oh yeah, I've turned mine on already. A couple of weeks ago, actually.
Last winter was the first time Sarah Libby applied to the LIHEAP program. Although she and her husband works full-time, they still needed assistance keeping the heat on.
We have to pay, the oil, the lights, and everything that we need. We have animals that we have to, feed and support as well.
And last winter, the Maine State Housing Authority got special additions to that funding. But that won't happen this year. Instead, it's the usual $40 million.
More people applying than last year. Last year, we took over 12,000 applications, which was 20% more than the previous year.
Last year, many Maine families received additional funds for heating assistance. Without that funding this winter, families can receive around $550 in heating assistance. Families are being encouraged to apply now. It takes about 6 weeks to determine if you qualify.
If you are denied and you're over income, we have the Good Neighbor Fund that we can offer 100 gallons.
That's 100 gallons of fuel to help heat your home that Penquist will consider tapping into, or suggest other programs that can assist you.
There's also churches, the Salvation Army, there's 211. So there's plenty of programs out there that can help, and we know it's going to be a hard year this year.
It's a huge need in the state of Maine, and there's a lot of great organizations that are helping people, try to get them connected, get support they need to get the fuel they need.
Organizations say this year there are more calls coming in to them for help, and there's help for those who need it, whether or not you're eligible for LIHEAP benefits. In Bangor, Lorraine Muir, News Center, Maine.
Maine is desperately trying to get people to live and work here to keep the state's economy alive.
The University of Maine is helping get emerging leaders ready for success by offering an accelerated leadership development program. News Center Maine's Lorraine Muir shares insights from participants in the Build a Better Maine program.
The collaborative Build a Better Maine program is giving hands-on experience to the next generation of Maine's business leaders.
I think this is working tremendously well.
For Bruce Hall, Director of Agroecology for Wyman's, the program is giving him access to experts who help him see the big picture, examining the overall operation of the farm and finding ways to increase productivity.
The ability to get outside of our box, outside of our silo, and innovate with others who are in different fields.
Paul is one of 10 participants in the Build a Better Maine program. Those taking part meet with University of Maine graduate business school professors and all work together to tackle real issues each business is facing. From working with leaders in various sectors as part of the program, Paul believes Maine has an opportunity for innovation.
And economic growth, community growth, it's really about how do we want to channel that power, and that's going to require leadership.
One of the amazing things about Maine is the ability for you to get connected to other people in meaningful ways here, and we think a program like Build a Better Maine only enhances that connection.
Those taking part in the program say it's like having a group of consultants working together to address business challenges.
I think that's really helpful is that diverse background coming together, having different viewpoints of issues or projects we might be facing is really valuable and helpful.
Different viewpoints are also key in training and developing a skilled workforce.
I've seen only positive developments in the entrepreneurial ecosystem and the way that the university has integrated itself into the state and then the state's vision for moving forward into the future.
In Bangor, Lorraine Muir, News Center, Maine.
It is the jewel of the town, and it can't be duplicated anywhere else.
Rich Rotella is the Bucksport's Community and Economic Development Manager. He hopes improving the waterfront walkway will attract more businesses and tourists to the area.
We can have year-round access because our businesses on Main Street and the waterfront are open year-round, and this would just be another way of getting visitors and community members into those locations.
The plan is to widen the walkway, add picnic areas, and make the area wheelchair accessible. In the town once reliant on the now defunct mill, leaders see this as a great amenity.
The goal is to provide a recreational means that will also provide economic benefit to our businesses and our town.
Businesses on and off Main Street are welcoming the project with the hope it brings extra foot traffic. The owner of Boat in Bucksport hopes her customers will stick around after shopping with her.
And they ask, what is there to do, what is there to see, so I can tell them.
It's a good economic driver. Visitors come to town to walk the walkway, and afterwards they'll have lunch, they'll grab an ice cream, they'll grab a book at the bookstore, or they'll take a day trip over to the fort.
This is my big seller.
One entrepreneur is hopeful to grow his homemade baked good business by setting up a pop-up shop at the expanding waterfront walkway.
Trying to improve the town for not only businesses, but for the people who live here.
As our motto says, we're rich in heritage, but looking to the future. So the expansion, the improvement of the waterfront walkway will only enhance visitors and citizens from now and into the future.
Leaders say the price tag is not finalized and hope to begin the walkway the end of the summer. In Bucksport, Lorraine Muir, News Center, Maine.
We're on a honeymoon for life.
Most immigrants come to America to escape hardships, seeking a better life. But for Margaret Morgenthaler,
I came here for love, and I became a citizen for love.
Morgenthaler lived just across the border in Canada, and her now husband is from Fort Kent. For this couple, today is a special one.
I'm just looking forward to living here in northern Maine, going back out on our sailboat and celebrating this day.
Today's naturalization ceremony is cause for celebration. Presiding Judge Lance Walker gives his advice to these new Americans. Take our citizenship seriously.
So let me offer you 3 words to remind you how best to do that. Grit, gratitude, grace.
Anil Karunika has been in Maine for years and today is an American citizen. She studied and now works at the University of Maine. She says her citizenship will help greatly in furthering her work in social justice.
And as a result, I get to vote and I'm able to influence policies that now affect my community and the place where I live.
For Sylvie Isimbi, a migrant from Rwanda, this day gives her hope for a better life.
I'm so excited to become who I become today, U.S. citizen, to achieve my dreams. And
fresh start for some, for others, a love affair not to end.
It's great. That's all I can say. It's great.
In Bangor, Lorraine Muir, News Center, Maine.
A church that once served the community of Hamden closed for good back in June, but one of the good deeds it once performed continues now. The church's new owners are vowing to preserve the historic building and its food cupboard that has been serving families in need for food for more than 30 years. News Center Maine's Lorraine Muir has the story.
The food cupboard just celebrated its 30th anniversary.
Susan Hahn was a congregant of the Hamden Congregational Church for close to 30 years. She's also director of the food cupboard there and wants to continue helping families put food on their table.
Unlike some of the pantries in the area, we are small enough that we truly feel like we are serving our neighbors.
The food cupboard serves up to 70 families per week. Volunteers also deliver about 100 packages of food every week so kids in need don't go hungry over the weekends. And after the building that houses the food cupboard was purchased, Hahn and her fellow volunteers can continue help feed Maine families.
Started to feel a calling that this perhaps was a good opportunity for Maine Savings to impact our community, historic preservation, and ensure that we could support the food cupboard.
Vanessa Medore is the Maine Savings Federal Credit Union CEO and went to church here. When the building went up for sale, she pitched her idea to save the space to the credit union's board of directors. They were all in, and Hahn's prayers were being answered.
It is as much of a win as we could have possibly imagined.
The church, the edifice, the interior, we want to shine historically and in its beauty so that it can be used by the community.
Medore says Maine Savings hopes to work with local and national historic preservation groups to keep the integrity of the structure and the pews intact. The space will be made ADA accessible and fitted to host concerts, weddings, lectures, and community gatherings, all the while keeping the food cupboard open for families who need it.
I sit here before you filled with joy that we are able to make a difference in our community.
In Hamden, Lorraine Muir, News Center, Maine.